Now, at Emeritus Newsbrief, I'm Lynn, Huston. Troubled banks, takeovers, and more layoffs troubled Wall Street. At the close Friday, the Dow lost 312.30, the Nasdaq was off 51.88, and oil hit another low for the year, losing more than $3, closing at $66.15 a barrel. The Fed forces the sale of Cleveland's National City Bank to PNC Financial. National City had lost at least $720 million in the most recent quarter. The FDIC took over and closed the troubled Alpha Bank and Trust of Alpharetta, Georgia. It's been sold to Stearns Bank of St. Cloud, Minnesota. Alpha Bank will reopen Monday with the name changed to Stearns Bank. The cost to the Deposit Insurance Fund, $158.1 million. Alpha Bank and Trust is the 16th FDIC-insured institution to be closed this year. Among the major layoff announcements, Chrysler says it will cut 25% of the salaried workforce positions. The announcement was made in a letter to employees. Company sales so far this year down 25% compared with last year at the same time. Along with the forced takeover of the National City Bank of Cleveland, about 4,000 employees are expected to lose their jobs over the next 3 years at that bank. Investment house Goldman Sachs will be cutting 3,250 jobs. That's about 10% of its workforce. And Xerox says it will eliminate about 3,000 jobs over the next 6 months in nearly every division except sales. Congressman Peter Stark of California has written the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services, warning them about potential problems with the upcoming Medicare enrollment period. Congressman Stark fears that insurance agents will target elderly customers to switch their Medicare Advantage plans so the agents can make higher commissions. Critics claim commissions on some of the Medicare Advantage plans are more than doubled if the agent can convince the customer to switch companies. Congressman Stark feels the commission structure encourages what is called churning in the business, or encouraging customers to change plans each year so the agents can make more money. The Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services took heat from the Inspector General's office this summer for not properly supervising last year's enrollment. This year's enrollment period starts November 15th. And oil giant BP has sued Northern Trust Bank of Chicago for losses to the BP pension fund. In the suit filed in a federal court in Chicago, administrators of the pension fund claimed that Northern Trust subjected the pension fund to, quote, inappropriate losses, unquote. BP has not stipulated just how much was lost, but claims the pension is fully funded. 4 police officers from Nassau County, New York, have won a settlement with the department in an age discrimination lawsuit. The 4 officers were transferred out of the Marine Bureau and replaced by younger officers. All 4 had good performance reviews. The settlement includes $450,000. More details on this story on the Emeritus News employment page. The VA medical system has problems recruiting, then keeping good employees. That's the conclusion of a GAO report handed down on Friday. Among the problems, according to the GAO, outdated medical data systems and inflexible nurse scheduling. It's all forcing a high turnover. More on that story on the Emeritus News healthcare page. And finally, the GAO will get state clearance in Florida after all. The GAO had wanted to survey polling conditions for disabled voters on Election Day. Secretary of State Kurt Browning had initially refused, but then changed his mind after receiving a letter from U.S. Senators Herb Kohl and Dianne Feinstein asking him to please reconsider. All the important issues and public policy updates you won't get anywhere else. EmeritusNews.com. That's an Emeritus News Brief. I'm Lynn, Huston.